Alright, so I get a lot of questions about how to use point clouds in AutoCAD, like how to basically draw or extract lines from them. One thing you need to note is you will need recap. Recap, think of it as kind of like the baptize program. So Autodesk, instead of trying to bring in all these various formats for point clouds, what they have to do is write one program that can read all these and then turn it into a format that all of their programs can read. Could you imagine all of their programmers having to write codes to bring in all these various point cloud formats? So you pretty much have to take whatever you have, doesn't matter where it came from a drone, from a terrestrial scanner, from Leica, from Faro, from whatever, Trimble. You could basically bring it into recap and make a recap file, and then that's when you can take it into the various programs. And we're going to talk about AutoCAD for a minute. So let me just switch over to AutoCAD myself and show you what I have. If you don't know how to attach a point cloud, you just basically go and click on the insert ribbon, go to the attach button, and make sure you look for the RCP. Make sure that RCP also has the supporting folders or documents that are made from the recap files that it makes. Once it's in here, you'll have your point cloud. It usually shows in a 2D or a 3D format. It'll usually zoom in automatically. The first thing we need to do to extract things is there are some tools in here you can use that sometimes work, sometimes don't work. Basically they have these point cloud snap tools. The ones that I usually try and use are edge and corner and centerline. That just means when you zoom in here, if I want to start the polyline command, it will try and find the thing between two planes. Sometimes, like I said, this works, sometimes it doesn't. I get better results using the extraction tool, and that's what I'm going to show you how to use. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick on this point cloud, and it brings up the point cloud tools, and these are all the little managers for point sizes, levels, color scans, stuff. I'm sure you've seen all this stuff before. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go with a section plane, and I'm going to say let's go with the top section plane. And then I want to get down as far close to the baseboard as possible, because as you can see from these two images, I've taken a dimension right here with a tape measure of what that should read. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to have to back off, hit escape, and so I deselect the point cloud basically. You can see this is a good spot to have a section if you want to get windows in there and maybe some other crown moldings. So wherever you're going to cut your section or want your lines, basically that's the top of where it should be. I'm going to come over here to this side where it says live section, and I'm going to do a slice section. So that way it's just kind of a slice in the middle. So this also would be a good spot to pull, but I pulled the dimension from here. One thing you'll have to note is that rooms are not built perfectly. There will be slants, so if I take a dimension at the baseboard, even above the baseboard, you know, obviously, but if I do a dimension in the middle of the wall or say the ceiling, those dimensions are all going to read differently. They are not going to read exactly the same. No wall is perfectly flat. So if you're trying to get something that's exactly the same, that's not going to happen. But let me just show you how this works. So there's two little dials over here. The first one is basically going to drop the section itself. And I'm going to keep lowering it down until I get close to where I can see the floor here. And then I'm going to even make it a little thinner. Oh, went too far. Let me go back up one. There we go. And this next one just makes the slice thinner. So if I want to make the slice thinner and thinner and thinner, or thicker for that matter, so going pushing down will make the slice thinner, pushing up will make the slice thicker. And let me just go down a little more. I'm actually going to type in a number of -51 just to get myself down to the right level here. Sometimes I find playing with the numbers is basically what you're going to get. I'm in architectural units, so these numbers are actually in inches. So my slice plane is about almost 3 inches, so 2 3/4. And then I'm slicing at about 0.43. It's just because I didn't make sure that this point cloud was at 0 when I dropped it in. So you can move that down to 0 next time if you want to. But when you get your slice here, you want to be able to make sure that you see the edge. That's the most important part, because the top part of this is what the section tool is going to slice. So when you're ready to make a slice, or generate the line work basically, you'll click on the slice, you make sure it's in live section view. I've seen sometimes where drawings will not allow live section view, so you may just have to start a brand new drawing if it's not allowing you to do it. I've also seen it on 2018 sometimes, so it might be that as well. But basically just select extract section lines, and then you got to try and wrangle yourself to kind of hover over where the point cloud is. Sometimes Autodesk did not make this very easy, but you kind of want to make sure to hover over, and when you see the box of the point cloud, then you'll get this box right here. So this is the box that basically I'm going to be using. I'm going to say let's do the entire cross section. Perimeter would just do the perimeter of the outside, but I'm not going to. My output geometry is just going to be, I can use a layer specifically if I want to, or I can just say use whatever the current layer is. I have a point cloud section that I did not do a very good job at spelling. I can also pick what color I'd like. Then I can say just draw lines or 2D polylines. I usually go with 2D polylines. The width, I'm not putting a width to these, so it doesn't matter. By default, Autodesk usually recommends about 20,000 points to process, so this just means how many points are going to get processed as it tries to draw that line. If that line has deviations along the wall, obviously it'll be less accurate if you're not going as much, but you can play with this to see what gives you the best results, and then they give you this little estimated timer down here on how long it's going to take. So the tolerances I usually use for mine is my minimum length line, and this is for architectural drawings, of course, not for civil or other mechanical. So basically, I'm going to say my minimum line should be about 3 inches, connect line tolerances, connect them about 6 inches, and then my collinear angle tolerance, let's say if it goes within 5 degrees, I want it to be able to connect. So that way it'll be, basically connect the lines. I find making these smaller, it will give you more line work, but it'll be like little slashes everywhere. And if you make these numbers bigger, then you get these weird like triangular things that kind of, I don't know, it looks like it's doing loops with each other. It just doesn't look right. So let's go ahead and hit create and see how long this takes. So basically it is asking us in the command line right here, would you like to accept these or change those settings again? And it's defaulted to settings. You can see this is the line work that it drew right up to the edge of where it is. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to accept those, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a measurement off of that. So it looks like in this case it gave me a couple of lines here that aren't really connected. So let's see if it gave me an overall one. It did. So let me explode this. Sometimes I might just want to clean up the line work, and I will just use the fillet command at 0 just to clean it up for myself. Then I'll be able to explode it, and then I also sometimes flatten it just to make sure. So I'm going to go back to the top view and do a flatten, and I will flatten all these guys before I grab my dimension. Alrighty, so here we go. Let me grab that little line right there, and let's list the guy. And we are reading at 9 foot 10 inches and 9/16. So that puts us, let's see, our dimension is 9 foot 10, so 118 1/4, so 9/16, so that's going out off by about 0.05 in a section line. So I don't know if that's an acceptable tolerance for you, but that's less than 1/8 of an inch for me, so I'd probably be fine with it. Most projects that are most contractors that build stuff can't even get stuff within that tolerance, even though we tell them to. The only exception would be for things like doing like cabinetry and really intense things like maybe stairways and stuff that you probably need a higher tolerance. The point cloud is there, it's just you're going to have to find a way to basically extract the data. So that's the best way that I can get AutoCAD to extract the data for me. Hopefully this helps. Hopefully if you would like this file, just go ahead and email me and I can send you over this and the recap file as well. And I hope you learned something.